Hello and welcome to the Powerful Personal Brand Podcast. I am your host, Claire Bahn, and on today's episode, I am very excited to be joined by my co-founder, Gordon Gooch. Gordon, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Claire. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So it's been, I guess you were on last week's show, but I feel on today's episode, this is something that I see a lot about, and we're going to be talking about why thought leadership matters more than ever in this AI era. So I think one of the things about AI, there's so many cliche sayings when you do it, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. When it's too easy, is it really? Yeah, like all of these lessons that we could learn. But there are people that are leaning on AI to create all of their content. And we want to talk about why that's not a great idea. So first and foremost, if you are an executive or CEO and AI is writing your content, I'm sorry, you should be ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed. Because why are you in your spot if you don't have thoughts? You should actually know what you're talking about, and if you don't deserve to be there, maybe someone who actually has thoughts should be where you are. What? Sorry, I had to do that rant. Kind of ticks me off. But there's a lot of people that they just, they're yeah, you should not be an executive if you're going to rely on AI. We actually had someone that was like, "Oh, can I just have AI create like an avatar of videos for me?" And I'm like, "No, you can't. Who's going to know, like, and trust this avatar? Like, it's ridiculous. Stop it. Stop it. If I could go through here and smack you, I would. Stop being stupid. It's ludicrous." Like, we talked previously about executives and the importance of building their brand, but honestly, the people building a personal brand and being able to be out on the forefront and not being scared of it, I honestly think that this world is going to change where people, if you're afraid to put yourself out there, if you constantly rely on AI, you are going to be kicked to the curb, because there are people that are willing to share their thoughts. They are willing to put themselves out there. So I just had to do a quick rant. Sorry. Start the upset off with a rant, but it's like, just stop it if that's what you think that makes you. It doesn't make you special. That's not you. It's not sharing storytelling. It's not sharing why you are a leader, why you're deserving of that leadership role. Because essentially, I think an executive should be deserving of the role. They should be leading their teams. They should, all of these sort of things. Gordon, do you have any thoughts on it? I might
Nope,
just
I
go
think
on
you
a
summed it
rant.
all up. I think that's the end of the show. Thank you,
And
ladies and gentlemen. We're out.
goodbye.
Yeah, I think that and we've talked about it before, AI regurgitates old information, and there is no original thought. That's not its goal.
Yeah.
That's not what it's intended for. So when you have someone, like you said, that's in a role, they've reached a certain level of leadership, they've reached a certain position, whatever that is, and however you want to define that. If you don't have any original thought, if you can't rely on experience and your expertise in order to uh, explain yourself, then yeah, maybe you shouldn't be there. And so you're basically the one that's really ripe for an AI replacement. Because if there isn't anything new and you're only doing the old stuff and you don't bring anything new to the table, maybe you're the first of the white collar that's going to hit the road, right? Because if
Yeah.
I can replace you with AI because you're just basically regurgitating anyway, okay.
Right.
But I think that, you hit on another point too, which is people are busy, right? And so from the bottom of their heart, they're like, maybe I know I need to build a brand, or I know I need to post on social or whatnot. I don't know how to get started. And so they fall back on this crutch. And so they're like, oh, well, I'll just have my friend Claude slash ChatGPT, Anthropoid, whatever it turns out, just write my content for me. Okay. But you don't understand that you're asking you don't have any novel questions, right? What is that whole thing that you talked about before? Is like, if it seems too good to be true, it
Yeah,
is, and all of that sort of good stuff.
right.
The reason is how many times have I seen, what are the five qualities of a great leader? Okay. You're not the only one that has that thought. And
Right.
when you put that into Chat GPT and that's your thought leadership or your social post or whatnot, what you don't understand is there's 5,000 other people that have asked the same question, put the same answer into social posts or thought leadership pieces or whatever it turns out to be. Nothing new. And so I think that it's a combination of nervousness, how to get started, which I understand. Two is relying on this crutch and then being delusional and to think that you're the only one that's asking that question and that ChatGPT gave you the magic answer that no one's ever thought of before. Okay. So
I
I think
think,
that's
well,
it too.
oh, one thing I was going to add is that I think, because I've tested ChatGPT on stuff. What does it give back to me and things like that. It really, I mean, you look at a lot of other. I'm going to toot our own horn, but you look at a lot of the other personal branding people and things like that. They regurgitate the same thing. Everything is the same way. They're relying on the same old ways of doing things, often very corporate. And we don't do that because it's actually, we found it doesn't make the needle move, and it doesn't make the needle move fast enough, especially in an entrepreneurial setting where you have to make an ROI pretty quickly. In a corporate world, you can just like hang out, waste money. I don't know. They find money from somewhere else and you just keep going, file for bankruptcy 8 times. Like, I mean, come on, whereas like in an entrepreneurial world, you're like, oh God, I have to make that you have to make the needle move. And so I think that that's also one of the biggest things is that if you are regurgitating all this old stuff, like, I mean, it goes back to like someone may make a different choice and get rid of that person. But let's say, you do have your own thoughts, because a lot of times what you'll see on that's regurgitated to you from chat or Claude, whatever, is stuff that you're like, no, that's wrong. Okay, well, that's
Mm.
what stupid people think. So, it's not right. And I think that that's kind of one of the biggest things. And I think if you constantly see the same stuff and yeah, people think so the general question is, in this world, there's so much AI content. I mean, there's so much I don't even honestly know, sometimes which is who's doing AI and who's not, but sometimes people just are bland in their posts. But like, really sharing your thought leadership voice, your actual what you have learned through your experiences, sharing your stories. I think that is going to be the key to, having better content and getting above this AI slot. What are your thoughts?
Well, you're absolutely right because it's something that AI can't fake. So telling your story, an experience that you had, a challenge that you had, and how you overcame it with real world scenarios. My friend Tom and I were talking, and he had this problem, and blah blah blah, and this is how we discussed. And yeah, okay, AI does not do that. So one of the ways that you set yourself apart is by sharing your experience actual and expertise actual and the thoughts that come from that. And what you were just talking about too is, and I hadn't really thought about, is yeah, you don't know how much that AI hallucinates. So, and we know that AI usually wants to tell you something that you that it thinks you want to hear, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
so you have a problem there too where you can't really trust the source all the time. And then two, you know that everybody else is asking the same question and putting out the same garbage. And then three is, does it really set you apart? Is it thought leadership if it doesn't come from your brain and your experience and your
Yeah.
expertise? So why should I trust you?
Right. I mean, so then I think another huge differentiator is, well, regardless of the people that are going to be like, no, Claire, you're wrong, but no, you're wrong. Video. Video. I mean, I guess we are in a time where there are AI videos. I do know that like specifically the CEO of Instagram, they are working on making sure that those do not get promoted, that people that are actually sharing content gets promoted. But honestly, when you look at some of the most popular videos, some of the most viral videos, they're not perfect. People say people make mistakes, they talk like humans.
It's
If you've
authentic.
ever seen an AI video, the lips are strange, and they're it's just a perfect thought. No one pauses to think. No one stumbles over their words. It's just this perfect thing. But I think that using video is that way to really differentiate yourself and get above this all these words that are out there that could be AI generated. Maybe it's just someone that for some reason likes to write like AI, or they do the TLDR. But if you're actually just creating videos that actually have value, that could be a way to get above the AI slop as well.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt that authentic videos of you helps people relate to you and builds that whole trust factor. But I want to flip it around because what you said I thought was really interesting. Okay, so now we are in an era where all of my thought leadership and all of my social is run by an agentic agent on my machine. I don't see it. I gave it some parameters at one point, and the thing just runs. Great. Okay. So now you find out that your buddy is doing the same thing and everybody's doing okay. So if you're a platform, your LinkedIn, your Twitter, your TikTok, your whatever, and it turns out that the only thing that is on that platform is one bot talking to another bot, those bots
Yeah.
don't have bank accounts. They're not
Nope.
buying anything.
Right.
You're not able to sell ads. You're not able to do anything. So the nth degree of what you talked about was like in Instagram, where they're doing their best. And if you don't think that AI is going to be able to recognize AI, you're sorely mistaken. So you can put out AI slop, but what will more than likely happen is the platforms themselves will recognize it. They will downgrade it. You'll feel better because you're participating in social media or whatever it turns out to be, but your content will never rise above the to the level of that a lot of people are paying attention to it. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's that what we talk about too is like how do you rise above the noise that exists on any one of these platforms, all of these platforms, on the internet in general. And the only way to do that is to be original, to be authentic, for people to relate to you. I mean, there's some technical aspects of it too. I'm not suggesting that there aren't, but that you need to put yourself out there and it's not your avatar self because
Right.
nobody cares about that. And soon, very soon, I think that the platforms themselves, if they can't already do it, which I think that they can, they're just going to basically go, yeah, thank you, and just shove your content down and you get
Slowly,
nowhere.
yeah, sandboxed.
Right. You get slowly sandboxed.
Yeah. I think I also, again, I don't know that people want to hear this, especially those that are don't want to put themselves on video, but that is the best way to share your thought leadership. I mean, having your own blog and things like that, yes, absolutely. But if you are there eloquently speaking on a subject, that's, I mean, a no brainer to me.
No,
What do you,
you're right. And I mean, from a technical standpoint too, our buddies at YouTube are the second largest search engine in the world. So if you're not taking advantage of it and you're just constantly dumping stuff, and the other piece of the pie too, right, is that, okay, I've got YouTube so people can see me. That's a great thing. It's a search engine, all of that sort of good stuff. All of that content can be reused across other platforms. So that becomes a primary way for you to get out there and share your thoughts. And when I can see you and hear you and I can relate to you, then that is way more powerful than the world's greatest um, uh, post, excuse me,
Right.
or
Yeah.
a very long thought leadership piece. Maybe, in this day and age, I want it fast. I need to just get
Yes.
through it. And you've summarized your point, and I'm like, wow, that's a really brilliant idea. Okay, I get it. I'm moving
Right.
on. I got a kernel of knowledge, and now I'm more likely to trust you.
Well, that goes back to one of our clients, JB, that he actually said that surprised him, that he thought his long posts were going to be the winners for his personal brand. But as soon as he did videos, and he was very, very resistant to doing videos, but as soon as he did, people came out of the woodwork and like, oh my God, I love your videos. And he was like, really? He
Yeah.
was surprised. But the fact that he sounds as eloquent as his posts do was what that's what people loved. And not only that, but if people want earned media, podcasts, they want to be on TV or other media where you're speaking, you actually have to show the fact that you can have a cohesive thought, and that is can really only be done with video.
No, I agree. So yeah, the PR aspect of building your brand, if you want to go to that nth degree, then you're right. Why would I risk putting you on my TV show, my podcast, whatever it turns out to be, if you turn out to, I don't know, if you're a blithering idiot, whatever it turns out to be. So one of the ways that you build that trust that you can handle yourself, and that really is part of it for earned media, especially when you
Right.
get into the all podcasts are video podcasts.
Yes.
The fact of the matter. And then if I'm going to get you on TV, and you're going to be on a news program or whatnot, if you don't have a bunch of those under your belt, then the fastest way to take care of that is to have a YouTube channel that people can find so that they can see you and they know that you're
Yes.
not like reading from a teleprompter and you sound like, yeah, all of that sort of stuff that we see all of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Have a conversation, be able to talk, be able to carry a thought through to the end kind of thing.
Yes.
Those are things that's what media training is. And so this is how you can kind of bridge that area of your brand to get in front of journalists, podcasts, and TV producers.
Yeah. Well, so okay, so you have people that are just they're doing the AI stuff because they're supposed to, and so they're creating content because they're supposed to. So then you have the other people. They're like, well, I want I want board seats, I want media, I want speaking engagements, and they rely heavily on AI, and they rely heavily on AI words as posts. Let's give some tips to those people. So first and foremost, yeah, you're doing it wrong if those are your goals. And I think that ultimately, yeah, I'll toss it over to you, Gordon. If they
No,
want
I
those,
mean,
they have those goals. What is it that they need to do to build that thought leadership, to build that momentum, to get them where they want?
I think to actually have thought leadership. I mean, you probably got to where you are. It's not like we're talking here to kindergartners. It's not a senior in high school or what. The people that are going to be able to build their brand are people that have a willingness to share their expertise and experience in a true way, and
Yes.
two, have, well, quite frankly, they have a level of success that can be leveraged on their behalf. Okay. So it's not, quite frankly, if you're just starting out, then there's ways to start building a brand. But if you are at the point where you want to even think about getting in front of journalists and podcast hosts and bookers for major speaking engagements, okay, so you've got to have some wins under your belt. That's the reality. And so the way that you do that is to have authentic thought leadership pieces. You have social media that's going out, like you were talking about, maybe you want a YouTube channel. None of these things are going to cost you an arm and a leg. So you
Time.
can time. Okay, you're right. You're right. Time is it, but there's an ROI to your
Yes.
brand. If there isn't, then nobody would do it. There would be no
Right.
valuable point. And you
If
know
there
for a
is
fact
no
if you're,
ROI, then you're doing it wrong, probably.
well, that's a good point too. So,
Mhm.
so if the ROI is how I'm going to build my brand, because we know that opportunities flow from a successful brand. They do. Whether it's more visibility, it's exposure, it's deal flow, it's lead gen, it's I'm going to write a book, I'm going to be invited to be on boards and all sorts of different things, right? So there's ways to monetize your brand. That makes
Yeah.
sense. But one of the most important things, especially, I don't know, because we've kind of like dinged on corporate a little bit, but if you're there, right? Okay, so that's funny, right? So, but if you're there and you are worried, you're one of the people that we read about that's like very concerned that AI is going to waltz in and take all of these jobs. Okay, then the first ROI from your brand is basically to build a buffer between you and everybody else. So if you are a thought leader, if you have exposure, if other hiring managers can be like, wow, Joe Bob over there is pretty darn smart, and he's talked about a lot of challenges that our business has had, and these are how he solved it. Am I more likely to go talk to Joe Bob, or am I just going to go through another stack of resumes? Okay,
Yeah.
so there is a way to defend your career by building your brand. And part of that is thought leadership. So all the, cutesy AI posts in the whole world isn't going to do that. But a concerted effort to take your experience and expertise to tell the story and to give original thought, not AI generated slop. I think
Right.
that that's a pretty key way to do that. And that's where the ROI comes from.
Okay. So what if you're listening to this and you're like, oh shit. I actually I've done
Beep.
like, yeah. I've done so much AI slop. How can I recover?
Okay, so there's a couple of interesting things, and part of it is technical.
Should they delete their old posts? I would say yes.
Probably so.
Yeah.
Probably so. You know, stranger things have happened. You might find some posts that have traffic and whatnot, but they are getting much better at all of that. Okay, so in the modern world, and I hate saying it that way, there are three target audiences, really. One are the people you're actually trying to get in front of. Two is Google, and you need to make sure that you're getting indexed and it's recognizing your expertise and experience. And now three are the LLMs. Okay. All three of those can drive traffic to you. So eyeballs back to you. And LLMs are the newest kid on the block. So how do I make those large language models, the chat GPTs, the Claudes, the Geminis, and all that sort of stuff, stop and pay attention to you? Okay.
Okay, so quickly,
Sure.
why would I want this? Because a
Oh,
lot of people would be
well.
like, why do I want what why I know I just want to be famous on Instagram or be famous on LinkedIn. Why do I care about Google?
So everything in its mother is turning to the fact that more and more people are using LLMs for every single aspect of their search. So if they have a question, they go there. If they have a question about product, if they have a question about, good Lord, medical, all sorts of different things. Okay, whatever your expertise is, if an LLM recognizes you as an expert and starts directing people to, oh, if you're interested in, okay, self serving, Claire Bahn, if you're interested in how to build an executive brand, you should go and see her. Okay, literally, that is what happens. So, how much traffic is driven? How many people believe the AI, LLMs, whatever you want to call it, over everything else, right? So their own mom tells them one thing, and then they go look it up in Gemini, and Gemini tells them this. They're going to believe that. Okay, so why do you want to do it? You want to do it because everything is shifting in that direction where it's becoming the next level of, and Google will hate me for this. Please don't ban me. Google is basically the LLMs are where Google were a decade ago, right? So people go there in order to find an answer. Okay. And it can go much more beyond that. So if an LLM recommends you or says that you are the expert at Y, whatever it turns out to be, it's invaluable. You cannot put a price on it, which is
Well, the
why, go ahead.
Oh, so the other thing to add too is all the if someone's like I want to be known as this and on and they're very focused on LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever, they also use AI and everything to kind of figure out who you are as well. So all
That's
of
true too.
it is important being very clear about who you are, what you do, and actually sharing thought leadership. So I just wanted to add that too, just because there are people with tunnel vision.
No, you're right. So, I mean, sometimes, a lot of times when people think in thought leadership, they think it just means I'm writing articles. Okay. Okay. Well, to a certain extent, long form thought leadership is more valuable than very short nugget bites, whatever you want to call social media, right? And we always tell the story is like, social media is the appetizer, and the articles, the blogs, that's the meat, that's the meal, because you're able to go into great detail. You're able to share more experience and all of that sort of good stuff. Okay. So, but you are correct that AI plays a huge part of all of the social media platforms, even from an algorithmic standpoint, where they're trying to analyze everything, go, okay, this person's content would be most interesting to that group. Okay, so now I'm going to show it to it because more eyeballs, more time, all of that sort of good stuff. Okay. But you're correct. It's not just about writing long form articles. So yeah. But I mean, I think going back to the main point is sharing your expertise and experience, but real experience. The challenges that you've had or whatnot aren't things that AI can duplicate. And so when you do that, then you can get in front of these three drivers of traffic, of audience, than just one. And so that's why it has high value.
Well, so I guess the moral of the story is that, yeah, if you have done AI for the last year or more, delete it, start from scratch, and then share your thought leadership. And and so hopefully, yeah, videos are golden, blogs, all that sort of stuff, little nuggets on social media. But yeah, basically clean it up and start again.
Yeah. I mean, it's all
That's the
going to
best
get
way.
downgraded anyway, so you can leave it there at your own peril. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of technical reasons why you want to clean up old content anyway. But if it's all AI generated, yeah, it's going to
I
get
don't think
picked
it can
up.
help you because, I mean, if someone
Uh,
digs back, they're going to be like, this
you're right.
guy or
You're
girl
right.
was
And it doesn't come
M
across
dashes
as
and
authentic.
emojis out the wazoo. Psh, AI.
and M dashes and emojis. Yeah, yeah. So that's funny. So I mean, yeah, if you're gonna do it, I guess that's the moral, right? If you're gonna do it right. And if you do it right, you're going to see an ROI, whether that is career wise, business, deal wise, whatever it turns out to be. And that's what we see across the board. So that's the reason to take it seriously. If you're gonna build a brand, then do it right.
All right. So just to be clear, we don't hate AI. We think that AI has some value. I think that it helps with research. If you are at a kind of a roadblock, you're like, I can't think of anything, you know, what are some things that I should, topic ideas or ideas for a podcast to talk about? Like what should I talk about? So there are ways that you can use it as long as it's not like the only source of information and it's from start to finish. Because yes,
Yeah.
it can hallucinate. It I saw a post on Instagram a little bit before this, and it basically was like, basically ChatGPT is a yes man. It loves you. It would tell you you're so beautiful or good looking if it could. It'd be like, you look so good today. Like, yeah. It's no stop. I sometimes I'm like like and stop talking like that when I like when it regurgitates some of the stuff. I think that it does have value, but
Yeah.
it's research purposes, brainstorming purposes. If you're, especially if you're stuck on something, you're like, okay, so here's a thought on this, is there anything that's related to this that I may have missed? Or but it
Yeah.
can't be the only thing that you go to, because
Yeah.
it it
But
has issues. It's not
yeah,
perfect.
maybe
And
that's a good way to look at it. It has issues, but yeah, I mean, whatever your expertise is, what are the trending topics on my expertise? Okay, that could free up, and you could go, oh, I know a story about that, right? Our company had that same problem. This is how I dealt with it. That turns out that's amazing stuff, right? So
mhm,
yeah, research, source material. Just don't get to the point where you're like, okay, and now write me a 2,000 word article on this subject. Oh, and I
right,
need 10 social media posts to back it up. Yeah.
yeah,
It's not that you're cheating the system, it's that you're cheating yourself.
Yourself.
Because it's not your thought leadership, and somebody else has already used it and written it, and you're just looking at duplicate content. And that's a big problem. And so I wish more people really understood that. There's AI does amazing things. It does great things. Research is one of it. Giving some cleaning up your if you're me, cleaning up your prose and maybe a little grammatical help every now and then. Yeah, but it doesn't know you. It doesn't have your life experience. It isn't authentic. And everybody sniffs that out sooner or later. Like whether it's the videos and it's my avatar looking sort of like me but perfect. Yeah. Don't do it.
Well, the other thing too is so say everybody's fooled. Everyone thinks your avatar video is you. Everyone thinks your content is you. And then you get up and speak and you bomb because you've never spoken in front of anyone. You've never done a video on your own. You've never actually written anything. You don't have well-formed thoughts. So you go up and you're boring because the best speakers tell a story. There's a story arc and they kind of guide you on that. And if you can't do that, if you're just kind of going through the motion, like ChatGPT can't go through and build a story arc the way people can. That'll actually kind of tug on the emotions. So I think you're doing yourself a disservice. I mean, anyone, like people that would cheat on having someone write their papers, take their tests or whatever, and they get the job or they get something and they can't handle it because they didn't do the work. Ultimately, you're going to get into a situation where everyone knows because you don't belong where you are for whatever reason.
That's a good point. I always remember your stories about back in the acting days when somebody would show up with a headshot that was 5 years, 10 years, and you're like, that's not the same person that's in front of me.
Yeah.
See, that lacks authenticity. So if anything, you've basically taken that small snippet, and like you said, you've built a persona that doesn't exist, that's based on all sorts of regurgitated information, and it has no heart. And you think that you're fooling everybody, but you're not. Because when you get put into that position and you finally got a journalist that wants to interview you and you can't pull it off, or you're on a podcast and the guy is asking you, simple questions from the research that they've done, and you're like, I have no idea what this guy's asking me. Okay, that's a horrible position to be in. You're in a job interview. You're talking to the board. And they're like, hey, we really think you're great. You've done all this thought leadership and all this sort of stuff. It seems right on par. Let's talk about this particular problem that we're having. And you just bomb on the spot. Yeah. Okay. Then what's the point?
Right. I guess the moral of the story is don't have AI run your thought leadership. It's a lose-lose situation. There is no upside to it. So the moral of the story is don't do it. So don't let AI run your thought leadership and your personal brand, because at some point it will bite you in the ass.
It will. Yeah.
If not today, it will happen.
Yeah, AI is a tool, not a solution. So if you have to recognize what it can do and what its limitations are, and then you'll be much better off.
Yeah. All right. Well, so this was a fun one. Started off with a rant at the beginning, but I had to get it out.
You did. You ranted pretty good. It was impressive.
Thank you. All right. Well, Gordon, thank you so much for being here today. It was fun to talk to you about this. It is funny because we could both rant because we have similar stories. Imagine that. So anyway, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. I'm going to have you back on here because it is kind of fun to be able to kind of share these stories and things that we talk about. All right. So thank you so much for being here, and thank you for listening and watching, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.